This is Seahawks Stories, 50th Season Edition, presented by Emerald City Athletics.
We're broadcasting from the Seahawks podcast studio, presented by Sony, an official partner of the Seattle Seahawks. Our stories from the Seahawks' 50th seasons continues, and we are going to talk about Pete Carroll. I don't think we need to set the stage about Pete, but let's just run through a few of these numbers. 14 seasons with the Seahawks. They reached the postseason 10 times, a winning record in 11 of those seasons. We know back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, and helped to oversee a defense that led the league in scoring defense for 4 straight seasons. That is a first in the Super Bowl era. To help us with this conversation about Coach, how about a couple of members of that defense, Red Bryant and Cliff Avril. Guys, you ready to talk about Pete Carroll?
Yes.
You guys started smiling before I even got to the end of that introduction.
It's unreal. I mean, you just talked about all the stats, the winning, the 4 years straight of number 1 defense. All that's a heck of a resume. You know what I'm saying? Like that's 2 coaches' resumes, right? Like 2 great coaches' resumes right there. So I don't know. It excites me because I got to be a part of that. I got to experience that. Because I got to experience quite a few coaches through my journey, but experiencing someone like Coach Carroll, honestly, it took me about half of my first season to really buy into like Coach Carroll and his messaging.
Now, see, that's what I was going to ask, because Pete was really different, and you came in what year?
13, first
13.
year. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So my first year, like it took me a while to like. Because I'm used to the NFL. Like again, I'm with the Lions. Things are a lot different. Music is blasting when you get here. I'll never forget the first time I talked to Coach Carroll during free agency, and I'm on the phone with him. He's like, "Hey, man, we're excited to get you. You ready to make this thing happen? You know, you're one of the last pieces. We think we can make this run. All this other stuff." And I'm like, this feel like college. Like this feel like it's like one of the coaches are recruiting you all over again. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this the NFL. Like, I'm like, sure, coach. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm kind of like, because one of the things I had realized up until that point is like everything is great until you start losing some games. Now coaches kind of change up on who they are. So I'm like, I need to see how he really reacts when we lose a game. And he was consistent as all get out. And I think that's the thing I appreciate about him the most is he did not waver. Win, lose, or draw, you're going to get the same coach on Monday or Tuesday. And that's special.
It is special and very unique. Red, what was your first impression of Pete?
My first impression of Coach Carroll, I was probably the same mind frame as Cliff. Is this real? Because you got to remember when Coach Carroll came, at that time I was still wearing glasses. And I didn't know that he has a philosophy. He watches everything a person does. So a lot of times you know, like that, to me, I'm not watching every little minute thing you do, but that's a testament to what makes him a great coach. He watches, okay, this guy wears glasses, and so Lawyer Malloy, he's the one that basically bullied me. And you say, how you get bullied? Yeah, Lawyer Malloy is a bully. He bullied me. He's like, listen, man, you in the NFL now, you need to go get LASIK. So he made me go to Bellevue to get LASIK. So I had got LASIK surgery, so I didn't have to wear glasses anymore. And I came in, Coach Carroll was like, wait a minute, who is this guy? And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, where your glasses is? You switching up? But no, I want you to stay exactly how you were.
Who you are, yeah.
I just kind of laughed it off, but in hindsight, when you think about it, that's Coach Carroll. That's how monogamous he is. He look at little things that somebody else probably,
most coaches
it's like aesthetic. He paying attention to it, you know?
Well, that must be how he was able to manage and effectively coach so many personalities on that team. I mean, it doesn't matter which side of the ball. We're talking about some really big, strong personalities and some of the greatest Seahawks of all time. How did he do it?
Man, that's a special type of person, right? I mean, obviously, Coach is extremely smart. He's into the whole psychology aspect of things too. But I think because most coaches want their players a certain way, because that way they know how to kind of react and know how to communicate with them. Coach Carroll was more of the mindset of like, let these guys be themselves, and I'll learn how to communicate with them, right? And I think that's special because, again, for me, I'm probably the more quiet one of my guys, right? My D-line, my defense, or whatnot. So when I walk into the locker room, I'm looking at these guys like, how long is this gonna last? Like this ain't gonna last long. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's vocal, and the locker room is a sacred space. So you say whatever you want to say, but these guys are saying it on the football field. They saying it in front of coaches. So I'm like, how long is it? And to me, I think again, that's what made Coach Carroll so special is he understood that he could get even more out of his guys if he allowed them to be themselves. But long as guys understood once they cross those lines, it's about business. But still be yourself out there, right? You can still have that personality, but you have to have some control in it. And he was really good at making sure that guys can have that control, but still be themselves and go out there and play for one another.
See, a lot of people didn't realize he used to always harass us, the
D-line.
defensive line.
Oh man.
We couldn't do nothing right. We couldn't do nothing right. He was like, I said, Coach Carroll, now you know you ain't got to worry about my weight. He was like, yeah, I do. I was like, why? He was like, because you still hadn't got it down yet. I was like, okay. So we used to take the elevator instead of walking up the stairs. He got pissed off about it. He was like, why you guys got to be difficult? I asked you guys, excuse me, he said, I asked you guys, I didn't want anybody riding the elevator. I wanted you to walk up the stairs. And we was like, Coach, it makes no sense. The elevator working. And like the D-line, I'm talking about 10 toes down. We rode that elevator every day. We cut through the bathroom. He's like, well, why you cutting through the bathroom? Because it's quicker to get to the meeting room, Coach. He's like, you know what that's telling me? You guys like shortcuts. You guys like shortcuts. So we get ticked off. We go to practice. We shut practice down. Oh yeah. But won't nobody practice today.
Yeah. We about to get into a brawl.
So a lot of people didn't know Coach Carroll. When it came to us, and then the DBs, they got away with murder. We felt like, but the D line, he was on us. But
I think the reason why is he understood, like, although the D-line might not get the recognition and all these different things or whatnot, he understood what the D-line meant to that defense too, right? You got to have some dogs up front. You got to have some guys that's kind of got a chip on their shoulder and mad, and you need those guys to move guys out the way. You get Big Red mad, he gonna move 3-4 guys out the way, right? So I think I feel like that's why he always was on us, is because he understood he needed to make sure those guys up front are always mad, always angry, and they gonna do their job, but always mad, always angry. So the rest of the defense can do what they need to do.
In addition to that, Pete had legendary meetings. I have only heard about a few of them. What's the one that caught you off guard, or like made you go, "Hold on a second, what are we doing, and where am I at?"
Man,
Red, go ahead.
Lord have mercy. Like Coach Carroll, like one time we get in the meeting and somehow he feel like we not connected. So he makes us all come in and make us sit like Indian style. Like in a
crisscross applesauce.
Remember that? He put us, and the space probably wasn't no bigger than this. And he put the whole team in there. And we like, Coach, what's going on? He was like, yeah, man, I just don't feel like we connected. I want to make sure we connected and everybody got your world in order. In hindsight, Coach Carroll, man, he was phenomenal with that. Like, we go in the meeting and we talking about everything but football. Mm-hmm. This is before our first meeting. Like, every morning, we gonna know what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. He gonna touch on a funny video. Coach Carlisle gonna get up there and give us a great story that is gonna translate to why you feeling, how you feeling, and why you need to have a Zen mentality and push through it. I just ain't never seen nobody be able to just poke and pull like that. And the D-line, which I love the D-line, because a lot of people just don't know, the D-line stuck up for each other. You could have either just, let somebody, but guys would just, we would just hang in there. But we hated running over those bags. We hated that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, he's like, No, coach. Sometimes we get on the side. We just run back and forth up and down.
Just let us do us.
You know?
Right. We're talking before practice.
Yeah.
Before we had the old
Practice.
school drills.
Yeah.
Old school
Yeah.
drills. That's what Cliff was talking about, like him being in the National Football League. The older you get, the less likely you are to be doing running over the bags, but not with Coach Carroll.
Yeah. I don't
It's
care what
just like
year
your
you are.
first day at SC.
Yeah.
We gonna hit these bags.
Every single
Starting your
day.
day.
Every single day. I think with Coach Carroll, one of the meetings that just resonates with me, and what Big Red's talking about, we used to call that the Kumbaya meeting. Like well, Coach, again, like what are we doing here? But I'll never forget. This is a preseason game, Red. You'll remember this. It's a preseason game, and I'm not gonna lie to you. As a veteran, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm not paying attention to what's going on because I've already kind of locked in. I know what I need to do, so I don't need to hear. I didn't need to get hyped up, right? Like I got a family, I got kids. Like if that's not enough motivation, like I got a problem. So most times I'm not listening to the hype meetings. But Coach Carroll goes up to the front and he's kind of doing his thing or whatever, and he talks about he starts talking about something. But then I see Coach Carroll get on top of. They built this like table up, and he gets on top of this table. And mind you, this man's like 68, 69 years old or something like that. And just like falls on the table, like just like purposely jumps up and falls on the table. And I forget exactly what the translation was there, but I'm like, this old man is crazy. But this is preseason.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to say that for the season. Like when you're but to me, it showed me like there was no difference to him in preseason, regular season, postseason. He's gonna be consistent and he's gonna show you that every single game mattered. But in that moment, I'm staring. I'm like, this man is 68 years old. Like I know that hurt. He's gonna throw his whole hip out. But he was trying to prove his point, and I just loved how he was able to just resonate with everybody on the team. Some way, somehow, he was gonna get your attention with one of his messages or whatever it may be, and he just knew how to pull the best out of people.
One of the things that I tell people about Pete, because they always ask, hey, who's the best coach you ever worked with, or who'd you learn the most from? And it's obviously Pete.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, all of those things that he said that sounded like just mantras and throwaway lines, right? Every game is a championship opportunity. Always compete. We would try to throw him off in press conferences. Like we would try to get him to say something different, and he never would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to get you guys to do
live
it.
it,
And to live it.
And he lived it because Coach Carroll has accomplished a lot, and he's still the first in the building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's hard not to be content, because he's won at every level of football. He's played in every big game imaginable. He's won big games. He lost big games, and he's still consistent. And so I'm pretty sure what may have been a shock when he got hired for the Raiders. But everybody who know Coach Carroll, we're not surprised
at all.
We are not surprised at all. And the fact that he has the energy and he wants to do it, I tip my hat to him. I really do, because he didn't have to come back to coaching. I think he's still a Hall of Famer. And if he's not, he's a Hall of Famer in my book. And I think he's a good coach. I really do. And I think he does a great job with acquiring talent and helping guys who may be on the borderline but giving a shot. That's all any guy wants, is a fair shot.
Yep.
And Coach Carroll will give you that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people forget, we paid Matt Flynn to come here from Green Bay, and Russell Wilson won the job.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't give him nothing. He went and got it.
Yep.
And that's what I like about Coach Carroll. Every coach not like that. You got some guys who probably better than the guy you want, but because he ain't the guy you want, you don't give him the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Carroll don't do that.
Yeah.
If you got the goods, you can play for him.
Man, and to elaborate even more on that, like, I think what makes him special is if you just look at our defense. Big Red mentioned this as well. Is like I was one of the higher draft picks on the D line, and I was a late 3rd round draft pick, right? But everyone has some sort of chip on their shoulder. You know what I mean? Whether you talk about Richard Sherman, who's a 6th round draft pick, Michael Bennett's undrafted, Big Red 4th round. Like the list is long as far as for these guys are supposed to be just some guys, right? But everybody, like every one of these guys on this defense has a chip on their shoulder, but also wants to win but wants to win with one another. Like we had that true relationship. So for him to be able to be able to manage all of that too, right? You talk about the personalities, the just all these different things with people from different backgrounds, and being able to get these guys to be selfless when athletes honestly can be arrogant and be about me all the time. But he found a way to make sure that we understood the value of one another and understanding that I'm nothing without a Big Red Bryant next to me. Big Red is nothing without a Me Bang next to him. Me Bang is nothing without a Mike Bennett or Clint McDonald next. So like finding that, and then on top, all these guys on the back end, LOB and Sherman, like although all those guys got all the publicity and all these different things, like if you talk to Richard Sherman, he'll let you know about the D line. Like you talk to a Cam Chancellor, like they'll let you know about the D. So the respect was there, and that's all we ever wanted up front too. But like to have all of that melting pot, like all of that in one on one defense, and for everybody to go out there and play for one another and play at a high level and not want to let that person down next to you, like you got to be a special coach to be able to put that together. But then more so than anything, manage that.
Exactly.
I think that's the biggest thing, being able to manage that. That's not
No.
by no means.
It's not. And here's the other thing that Pete was able to manage, and we've never really dove into this. But you talk about the wins, you talk about the losses. Pete Carroll's had some big wins, some big losses. So has this team.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn about resiliency or getting over a loss? And not necessarily, I'm not talking about coaching decisions. I'm just talking about what it feels like. When your season ends not the way you want it, when it was within grasp, and whether it was handled the best that it could or not, what did that teach you and how did Pete influence that?
I think like you said, I think resilience more so than anything, right? Because, and I still I operate my business like this. I operate life like you're going to have ups and downs in life, right? And it's all about how you choose to bounce back from them. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that I learned from Coach Carroll is wins and losses. He was going to be himself, and he has a recipe. He understands how this thing operates. And yes, from time to time, you will have a loss here and there, but you cannot waver. And I think that's the biggest thing, right, is not wavering, is trusting the process and being in tune with that process. So I think Coach Carroll has done a great job over his years of coaching, but also implementing these psychological understandings, I guess, to make sure that you do not waver no matter what's going on. And I think that resilience is a big part of that.
Do you think he felt the emotions of that moment? And I only ask because on one hand, when you see a leader who is so adept at handling that process or letting that process play out, I think there can be an assumption that, oh, they're a robot. They didn't really care, right? They're running on autopilot, right? How would you know? Like, you clearly didn't feel as badly after that loss, that season, that game as we did. Coach felt it.
There's no way he doesn't care, if that's the
that's
assumption.
That's why he's still coaching. Yeah, I believe.
I don't think you can be great at something and not be passionate or care about it.
Yeah.
And he's clearly great at coaching. So you care about your wins and losses. Don't get me wrong, but I think the system and the mindset is much stronger than just allowing a loss to throw you off of your game. You know what I mean? But I think he's truly passionate. I think he really loves what he does. And somebody that loves and is passionate about what they do, there's no way you don't care about the results.
I may be wrong, but I'm assuming. I think Coach Carroll care about his legacy in terms of what others may view him as. Mm-hmm. And I think just like with any leader, sometimes I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And that's hard as a leader. And so I think, he could play it back a million times, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I've looked at everything as teachable moments.
Yes.
And that's life. Sometimes you could do everything right and come up short. Mm-hmm. And how you respond is really more important than what actually happened to you. And I think that that's all anybody could do, you know, when you really break it down. But I think that might be some of the fuel that's pushing coach to continue to coach.
Oh, for sure.
Because you love to win, but you remember the loss.
1,000%.
That's just how it goes.
If you're a competitor. But also, I think sports is like maybe the only spot where people don't give grace in this sense of, like, the losses are where you learn.
Yeah.
Right? The losses is like, no one learns from success. Everyone learns from their failures and their mistakes, right? So that's where he probably got his most growth at. And that's probably why this man will mess around and win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years as well. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's going to be based on that experience. You know what I mean? So and I've learned that through him being my coach, right? And understanding that. So I just think that experience, those experiences, he definitely feels it. He also understands he can't allow it to stop him from moving forward. But if he's put in certain positions again, I'm sure he's learned from that mistake and will do what he feels needs to be done.
I would hope so.
Yeah. This NFL season, feel every play, every hit, every moment with the Sony 1000 XM5 noise-canceling headphones, the official headphones of the Seattle Seahawks. With premium noise cancellation, you are in the zone. No distractions, just pure football. Whether you are in your living room or on the go, you'll never miss a beat with Sony headphones. When Pete had his final press conference in Seattle, he said what he was most proud of is taking a culture that he developed in his college days and came here and showed that if you truly cared for people deeply, if you loved them for who you were and you tried to find the extraordinary uniqueness and celebrate them, that would end up creating culture.
That's real.
That's real.
That's real. And
that's real.
That method is not supposed to work in the NFL.
It's not supposed to. It really can, because in the NFL you have to be selfish to an extent as a player to get the most. But when you talk about winning the championship, you got to be selfless. Mm-hmm. And to get a man to believe in that is not easy. And Coach Carroll has an uncanny way to get men to stay in that college mentality of working hard, preservation, and putting we in front of I. Mm-hmm. And you go forward that way, in my opinion.
No doubt. And again, the NFL is not necessarily structured to be that way.
Exactly.
It's because we know guys that have gotten paid and been some of the top paid, some of the top athletes have never been to the playoffs, let alone a Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So to have that mentality and to show that, hey, this college system can actually work in the pros, where guys feel like a team, where guys are selfless, where guys will play for one another. Showing that can work and win championships goes a long way. And one thing we've always said and we've always known about the NFL, it's a copycat league. And over the years, you've seen that playbook. You've seen that playbook over the years of people trying to mimic some of these different ways and changing up, because the NFL was not operating like that prior to Coach Carroll. Very militant, we want things done this, and we want you to act this, that way. Coach Carroll, like, man, be yourself. Just turn up when you get out there. You know what I'm saying? Just be yourself. Have fun, and kept it light.
Yeah, and that is perhaps the greatest legacy that Pete Carroll and his time in the NFL and with the Seahawks has left. That is going to do it for this edition of our special podcast series exploring stories from the Seahawks' 50 seasons in existence. Red Bryant, Cliff Avril, thank you, friends, for joining.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time.